Hey everyone, welcome to The Daily. Today is Friday, February 22nd. Greg Lawless alongside Jason Sagini. And it is a big day today in the international game, especially for the youth players. The US U20s finish up group play down in Puebla, Mexico. Now, Jason, the US U20s, they're already through to the quarterfinals due to Costa Rica's win over Haiti a little bit earlier in the week. The US also got a win over Haiti, so Haiti's out. That means the US and Costa Rica go through out of Group A. But they are playing this afternoon, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, for first place in Group A. Tab Ramos has talked a little bit about he's going to make a couple changes in the lineup. What do you think about this game in particular?
Well, I think the way that everyone looked at that Haiti game was the U.S. didn't perform the way that they were expected to. And I think Tab Ramos is aware of that, and he thinks maybe there's a couple of things we have to tweak. He said, you know, depending on the opponent, we're going to change our lineup. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mikey Lopez come into the middle of the field. I thought there was something missing as far as linking goes in the middle of the field. We all talked about it a couple times by now. Luis Gil did not have a great game in that first game. I'd like to see him. He knows it,
by the way. Luis Gil has talked about how he didn't have a great game.
Right, so I'd like to see him back on the field with maybe a little more inspired in this game. But at the same time, it's important. This game is important for the U.S. They want to finish first in the group, because if they finish first, they're going to end up playing Canada or Nicaragua, who look like a lot better of an opponent for the U.S. than this Cuba team, who's looked really good in the tournament so far. Remember, the U.S. go into the next round, one win, and they're through to the World Cup. So they definitely want the easiest opponent.
Now, interestingly, midfielder Benji Hoya, who plays for Santos Laguna down in Mexico, also came out after training on Thursday and talked about the hostile, anti-American crowds that the U.S. is listening to and facing when they're playing in Mexico.
Get used to it.
That's true. Get used to it. These young players need to know that this rivalry is all about that.
Sure.
So I've often felt that the U.S.-Mexico rivalry is the best one in international soccer, and now it's dripping down to the youth levels as well.
Yeah, I think you have to expect that, and it's great to see. And look, if you're a U.S. soccer fan and you want to see some of these guys work their way up into the national team, they're going to be playing down at Azteca in meaningful games over the course of their career. You want them to be used to it, and it starts now at a young age.
Well, the U.S. full team will take on Mexico at Azteca on March 26th, so not that far away, in fact. Let us know what you think might be the best international rivalry of all. I think it's U.S.-Mexico. I don't know. What do you got?
Oh, man.
Put you on the spot.
Argentina-Brazil?
Brazil is not bad as well. England-Germany, people bring up Germany-Holland, Spain-Portugal, lots of good ones, but for me it's U.S.-Mexico. Let us know what you think it is. We mentioned Canada and Nicaragua. Those two U20 teams will take on each other at 9 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. It's on sportsnet.ca up in Canada. Now, both these teams lost their first group match. Right. This is their final one. The winner will go through to the quarterfinals and most likely take on the U.S. They might take on Costa Rica, depending how that match goes. Right. This is a huge game for Canada.
Yeah, I mean, I think Canadian fans really want to see some progress at the youth level. They've been frustrated with their senior team. And when you look at this for Canada, the U.S., Mexico, and Canada in this tournament get basically a bye into this round. They don't have to qualify into it in the group stage. If Canada doesn't advance here, it doesn't really bode well for them, especially against what is probably a weaker Nicaraguan team. So you want to establish yourself as one of the powers in CONCACAF. You need to at least advance out of your group here.
Yeah, they actually might be in danger of losing that privileged status at the youth level. Now, Nicaragua, not a great team. Canada really should be able to get this result. Cuba, the surprise team in all of this, I think, for everyone. But Canada definitely should be able to get this result against Nicaragua to advance to the quarterfinals. On Thursday's edition of Extra Time Radio, we spoke to Sigi Schmid from the Seattle Sounders. And Jason, he talked a little bit about the Christian Tiffert situation, what's going on with this DP that they brought in last year.
Yeah, that was what I took away from it. Sigi Schmid's quote as he tried to discuss that without really saying too much. He said something to the effect of, that's the situation that's in a process right now. And, what we took out of that was, obviously something is going on there. He's not in camp with them. This is a player that Seattle fans had high expectations for. He didn't really pan out last season. Now, I'm a believer that you have to give a guy more time than that to adjust and adapt to the team. But if you're the Sounders and you need a forward to replace Freddie Montero, you're really set in the midfield. They have a lot of talent in the midfield. maybe it makes sense to let Tiffert go and open up that DP slot to bring in another forward.
And with the acquisition of Showery Joseph, that was the third DP spot that they actually ended up filling. Now, Seattle Sounders will take on Veracruz on Friday night in Tucson, Arizona, where they are basically getting ready for CONCACAF Champions League. Last week, Sigi Schmid actually told me they scheduled this game specifically to be able to take on a Mexican club so that they can prepare stylistically, in particular, for their CONCACAF Champions League first leg of the quarterfinals, which is coming up in the second week of March. So big for Seattle. The Sounders are also, though, on Saturday night in the finals of the Desert Diamond Cup. They'll be taking on Real Salt Lake. And
no snow, hopefully.
No snow, hopefully, indeed. Now, we talk about Seattle. Will they play their starters on Friday night or Saturday night? They've got a sort of weekend doubleheader.
Ziggy told us on Extra Time Radio yesterday, the front office is going to be really disappointed with me if I make them bring up a team from Mexico for us to get a run in, and I don't play my starters against them. Obviously, he has to play the team he's going to play in Champions League on Friday night. Seattle Sounders are one of the deepest teams in MLS. So whoever they put out on Friday, they're still going to have some good players to put out on Saturday, and they're going to be competitive against RSL in that final.
The RSL Seattle final on Saturday is on NBC Sports, so make sure you check that out. Also on Saturday, the final of the Disney Pro Soccer Classic. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN3 between Montreal and Columbus. There's lots of other soccer action this weekend, from the Carolina Challenge Cup, lots of action down there, and also the Portland preseason tournament. Make sure you check out MLSsoccer.com for all the results, the information, and the news, and we'll talk to you on Monday.